session, Amrita, is aptly coined Diffusing a Ticking Time Bomb. India's battle against water pollution and restoring its sacred waters. And we have a power-packed panel to share their perspective on the topic. If you could kindly please invite them on stage.
Well, let's do that and let's get started because the energy level should also be high up. So let's join us welcoming on stage Dr. Rajendra Singh, who is popularly known as the Waterman of India, who is a renowned river rejuvenator and an environmentalist. Welcome, sir. Nitya Jacob also joining us on stage. She is the coordinator of India chapter of Sustainable Sanitization Alliance and author of Dr. Veena Srivastavan, executive director of Water, Environment, Land and Livelihoods, and also Labs and Kalpana Ramesh Environmentals, and also the founder of Rainwater Project. Please join us in welcoming all of our esteemed panelists on stage. It's an honor to have you with us.
And to moderate the discussion, if you could please invite on stage our colleague, Mirana's Shreya Upadhyay. Shreya, please do the honors and join us on stage. It promises to make for a fascinating back and forth, ladies and gentlemen, given the criticality of the topic. And with that, Shreya, the floor is yours.
Thank you, guys. Good evening. Welcome, everybody, to this session. Can I start with a personal anecdote? I just joined Times Network. I was a new employee there. And our office is in Film City, Noida. And we cross the Yamuna River every day. So I was new to this place. And, on my way back, and I stay in Dwarka, so it's a long way. On my way back, I thought, okay, let me roll down the windows of my cab and take the fresh air that comes from the river Yamuna. And well, your laughter has said it all. It wasn't the fresh air. It was just stench. And it, as much as it disgusted me, it disappointed me that this is what our water bodies have come to. And this is why it's important for all of us to sit and discuss where we can, find a solution to this. So let me first start by asking you, where do you think we can start solving this crisis? Where do you think we should be, looking at first and foremost when we talk about our river bodies, our water pollution, that all of us, by the way, are contributing to and are, responsible for? Can I start with you?
Firstly, thanks for inviting me. And I think that this is a very pertinent question because I think the most important and positive thing for us to say is it's a solvable problem. If you thought about any of the world's major cities, whether you thought about London and the Thames about, 60 years ago, or New York, or any of these other big cities around the world, they all smelled like the Yamuna, not about half a century ago. And none of them smell like the Yamuna today. So the good news is it's not a technology problem. We've known about wastewater treatment technology for 200 years, and it's not rocket science. It's also not money, because you actually look at the amount of money that is required to solve the problem relative to the size of India's GDP today. Even that is not so much. So then the question is, why do we still have a problem of every city in India having a smelly river when we know it's not technology and it's not money? And I think that the answer lies to some extent in the way we've structured our institutions. Because if you really look at the incentives today, most urban local bodies get revenue for supplying water, but they get no extra revenue for supplying wastewater. So as a result, if I was an urban local body and I was running with relatively low amounts of money, I would put all of my effort and money into supplying water, and I would drag my feet to supply my wastewater until I get hit by the National Green Tribunal, somebody files a lawsuit, and then they threaten me with fines, and then I'm going to set up sewage treatment plants. But otherwise, it's the rational thing to do. So we should not be surprised that we have a problem that is a perfectly solvable problem because of the way our incentive structure is set up. So then the question is, how do you undo this incentive structure that we've set up? And there are a lot of good examples around the country. Bangalore is, from where I am, is a good example of mandating wastewater treatment plants where it required every large apartment complex to have its own wastewater treatment plant. In a way, the city's way of dealing with it is we don't have the money, you guys deal with it. That's the way the city's way is. Of course, not even those treatment plants were really working. But where we are beginning to see shoots of hope is when people, like the kind of crisis that we have, when people start seeing that we are literally running out of water and wastewater is the only place that we can get new clean water.
You know, we did run out of water in Delhi.
And
Did you see the kind of scenes that emerged out of the national capital? So clearly we need to think a lot about it. Let me take this across to Dr. Rajendra Singh, somebody who has found the solution to the solvable problem. He's also known as the Waterman of India because he's been credited with creating and building thousands of structures across our villages when it comes to water conservation efforts across rural India. Dr. Singh, what can we do about it? How do we start? How did you start?
ये सवाल मुझसे पिछले 50 सालों में 500 बार पूछा होगा, लेकिन मैं नहीं जानता कि इस सवाल के जवाब में कितने लोगों ने ये सीख कर काम किया। पर तुमने पूछा है तो मैं जवाब देता हूं। मुझे ये पानी का काम गांव के एक अनपढ़ किसान ने सिखाया। मैं डॉक्टर था, इलाज करता था। उन्होंने कहा कि तुम्हारी दवाई पढ़ाई नहीं चाहिए, हमें पानी चाहिए, और ये दवाई का काम बंद करो, पानी का काम करो। मेरी 2 दिन में उस अनपढ़ किसान ने 2 पीएचडी कंप्लीट कराई। जब तुम एजुकेशन में पीएचडी करते हो तो तुम्हें 19 साल लगते हैं, लेकिन उसने मेरी पीएचडी एजुकेशन में नहीं कराई, उसने मेरी पीएचडी विद्या में कराई। मुझे कुओं में डाल के नीचे, सूखे कुओं में, धरती का ये जो एवोपरेशन लॉस है पानी का, वो कैसे रुकेगा, कहाँ कन्फाइंड वर्टिकल फ्रैक्चर्स हैं, कहाँ अनकन्फाइंड वर्टिकल फ्रैक्चर्स हैं, वहां पर आपको कैसा डैम डिजाइन करना, कहाँ पर साइट सिलेक्शन करना। एक दिन में सुबह 6 बजे से लेके शाम के 8 बजे तक मेरी विद्या में, जल की विद्या में पीएचडी कंप्लीट की। अगले दिन उसने मुझे ऊपर पहाड़ के ऊपर ले गया और जहां से वो नदी शुरू होती थी उस नदी के साथ 17 किलोमीटर पैदल चल के, तुझे कहां डैम बनाना है, जहां स्टीप स्लोप्स हैं वहां कॉन्वेक्स डिजाइन के डैम बनाने हैं, जहां जेंटल स्लोप है वहां सीधे डैम बनाने हैं, और जहां नेचुरल डिप्रेशन है और मिट्टी में लाइम कंटेंट है वहां कॉन्केव डिजाइन के डैम बनाने हैं। तो दूसरे दिन मेरी पीएचडी natural engineering, and this engineering fully with the concern of human being and concern for nature, प्रकृति का कुछ भी बिगाड़े बिना हम कैसे काम कर सकते हैं। इसलिए इस पूरे काम में तकनीक और इंजीनियरिंग और विज्ञान नहीं था, इस काम में था जो मुझे सिखा रहा था उसकी आंखों में पानी था, और वो अपनी आंखों का पानी मेरी आंखों में डाल रहा था। जब उसकी आंखों का पानी मेरी आंखों में आया तो मैं उस पानी के काम को सीख के काम करने लगा। 14,800 डैम बनाए, 14,800 डैम बनाए, और कभी किसी सरकार से आज तक एक पैसा नहीं लिया उस काम के लिए। पर पिछले 50 सालों में मैं कह सकता हूं कि वो लोग जिनके पास पानी नहीं था, बेपानी होकर उजड़ गए थे, वो अब पानीदार बन गए। 12.5 लाख लोग, 12.5 लाख लोग जो बेपानी होकर उजड़े थे, अब वो खेती करते हैं।
Can we have a huge round of applause for not just Dr. Singh, but every farmer of this country, every villager of this country from whom we can learn a lot, something which cannot be taught in our textbooks and in our schools. But let me also ask from you, where do you think we should start? Do you think we should start from our households?
Okay, I think yes, definitely we should start from our households. But I think we should also stop trying so hard, because over the last, 30, 35 years that we've had focused programs, the Yamuna Action Plan, Ganga Action Plan, and heaven knows what other action plans, we've tried a lot. And it's been more of the same thing over and over again. We've tried to do the same thing in cities, build large sewage systems, build large sewage treatment plants. Nothing has worked. I think we've tried too much of that. It's time to try and look at a different way of dealing with urban municipal waste. And an organization I used to work with, Center for Science and Environment, one of the mottos that they had was the solution to pollution is dilution. Maybe that's a bit too much of, it's an oversimplification. But it also underlines the need to try less technology, less investment, or maybe not less investment, but definitely less technology. And to kind of do things a little differently, do different things differently. The paradigm shift that we were talking about a while ago, which still hasn't really happened, was to look at decentralized methods of treatment, decentralized methods of water supply, decentralized methods of water treatment as well. And to make sure that you don't supply water until the disposal mechanisms are in place. And if they are not in place, then there's no water supply. So also, disposal mechanisms need to be budgeted and financed accordingly. Research that we done back then showed that energy is the single biggest input for water, not the water itself. And that's something that was not taken into account. So there are very nice sewage treatment plants, water treatment plants built. They don't run because there's no energy. They also don't run because there's no sewage coming to them or there's no water coming to them. So how do you fix the basic problem of connecting all these hubs and these spokes? Maybe the solution is to reduce the distance between the hub and the spokes. And I think that's also what Veena Rajendra Bhai was saying. Also, while working on water research, what I found is that communities have a lot of wisdom and they need to be given space. We need to listen more to them rather than being so prescriptive with technological solutions.
Yeah, I think very rightly said. Kalpana Ramesh, where are we lacking? Very rightly he said that we've been talking about it a lot and we're trying too hard. हम लोग लेजी हो गए हैं क्या? हमको कन्वीनियंटली जब तक पानी मिल रहा है, साफ पानी मिल रहा है, तब तक हम लोग खुश हैं. जिस दिन वो बूंद नहीं आती, उस दिन हम लोग शोर मचाना शुरू करते हैं. बट वो बूंद नहीं आ रही है नलके में क्योंकि हमने वो प्रैक्टिसेस नहीं अपनाई है till we reach that situation where we are facing a water crisis.
What you're saying is absolutely right. We are so become a tap and tanker community, right? So there's no water in the tap, call for a tanker. There's no understanding beyond that. What do you do beyond this? Is there a solution beyond this? Even if you take at a household level. So all the answers I agree with because you have to decentralize things today. Now I work a lot on bringing back traditional water resources or traditional wells in an urban scenario. Mr. Rajendra Singh has worked extensively on this in the rural areas and he is also one of my mentor, I would say. I have followed him for years. But in an urban scenario, coming from an architecture and design perspective, even in our own offices today, we don't look at water as how to sustain a resource. How to sustain a borewell from which you're taking water for a large apartment that you've created. You've created this on the face of the planet, but what is it that you should sustain? And what do you throw back as a building, as a different typology of buildings that you build? What do you throw back in the environment? It's often not our problem. You think somebody else is going to solve it. I think that's where the thinking should begin. It's not in somebody's hand. And if you look at, let's say a step well, I work for step well restoration. So if you look at it, you cannot look at it today as a heritage or a water conservation, story, or you can't look at things in silos anymore. You have to put every piece together, every puzzle together. Then you will find a solution. Today, most of our cities are concreted. About 75-80% of the city is concreted.
Right.
So what is the solution? So we have this example that we don't segregate in our own homes. We don't do rainwater harvesting in our own homes. We don't recycle. But we look at this problem. We have a mountain of waste that is sent to a place, a landfill in a city, and you stare at it and you want to figure out what to do with it. Exactly the same thing with wastewater, with rainwater. I feel, at least in Hyderabad, I feel we have excess water. We simply don't know how to manage it. Because we will never get out of this circle of drought and floods if we don't quantify our water, if we don't conserve it in the right ways, and if we don't have a bottom-up and a top-down approach. I think both are equally important.
Absolutely, very well said and very well put. Dr. Rajinder Singh, एक बार मैं ऋषिकेश गई थी, वहाँ मैंने एक ऑटो वाले से पूछा कि भैया यहाँ पे गंगा नदी कहाँ है? उसने मुझे बोला नदी का तो पता नहीं मैडम, गंगा माँ यहाँ से बहती हैं. And that taught me so much about how in India we treat our water bodies, how sacred they are for us, and at what pedestal we're putting them. But unfortunately, we're not treating them that way. We can have as much as, all these conferences where we talk about it, but until we do something about it, it won't help. Dr. Rajinder ji, India में इतना wisdom है, traditional knowledge of water conservation को लेकर, कुछ उसके बारे में बताइए, हम कैसे घर पे क्या कर सकते हैं?
देखो, हम भारत के लोग सचमुच एक जमाने में दुनिया को सिखाने के लायक रहे होंगे, और पानी के मामले में खासकर, क्योंकि भारत के लोग सदैव ये जानते हैं कि ये जो प्लैनेट है, ये जो ब्रह्मांड है, ये पानी से बना है और इसी पानी से हम बने. तो जिस पानी से हम बने और जिससे प्लैनेट बना, जिससे नदियां बनी, इन सब की सेहत, इन सब की हेल्थ एक दूसरे के साथ जुड़ी हुई है. यदि नदी की हेल्थ खराब होगी तो हमारी हेल्थ खराब होगी. लेकिन दुर्भाग्य ये है हम सब लोगों का कि हम गंगा को माई कहते हैं, पर आजकल हम माई से कमाई करने के साधन ढूंढते रहते हैं. जब माई से कमाई करने के साधन ढूंढते हैं तो जो उसकी सैक्रेडनेस है, जो हमारे मन पे, मस्तिष्क पे जो उसके रिश्ते हैं, वो रिश्ते टूट जाते हैं. तो जब से भारत के रिश्ते अपने इन पंच महाभूतों को, भगवान जिसे बोलते हैं हिंदी में, भय से भूमि, गै से गगन, वैसे वायु, आ से अग्नि और न से नीर, ये जो 5 महाभूत थे, हम भारतीय लोग जब तक उन्हें भगवान मानते थे, तब तक हम भारत के लोग दुनिया को रास्ता दिखाते थे, बताते थे. दुनिया हमसे सीख सकती थी. आज कुछ सीखने लायक है? आज हम किसी को कुछ सिखाने के लायक बचे हैं क्या? हम इसलिए नहीं बचे क्योंकि हमारी परंपरा में जो मूल ज्ञान था, जो हमें सिखाता था, इस प्रकृति के साथ हमारे रिश्तों को बना के रखता था, उन रिश्तों को इस नई मॉडर्न एजुकेशन ने, ये जो इकोनॉमी की भूख, जो हमारी ग्रीडीनेस है, इसने उस रिश्ते को तोड़ दिया. इसलिए जितनी भी टेक्नोलॉजी हम लेके आ रहे हैं, वो जब हम लेके आते हैं तब हम उसके बड़े एडमायरर होते हैं, लेकिन थोड़े दिन के बाद पता चलता, अरे ये सत्यानाश तो इस टेक्नोलॉजी ने ही किया है. तुम्हें मालूम है, नेहरू कहता था कि ये जो बड़े बांध हैं ये टेम्पल हैं. टेम्पल कहता था. अभी क्या कहते हैं हम लोग? क्या कहते हैं कि ये जितने बड़े बांध हैं ये नदियों के हत्यारे हैं. तो जब तक हमें इस पूरी टेक्नोलॉजी को देख लें, समझ लें, ये जो टेक्नोलॉजी है यही इस धरती का और हम सब का विनाश कर रही है. ये इस टेक्नोलॉजी में कोई कॉन्शियसनेस नहीं है, कोई कंसर्न नहीं है विद नेचर, और जिन एलिमेंट से हम बने हैं उनके साथ ये टेक्नोलॉजी हमेशा रिश्ते तोड़ती है. नाम दे देते हैं ग्रीन टेक्नोलॉजी, हाइड्रोजन, पता नहीं नए नए नाम, फैशनेबल नाम, इतने फैशनेबल नाम ये सब लेके आते हैं जो दिमाग को बिल्कुल खराब करते हैं. पर ये जो टेक्नोलॉजी है ना, यही हमें गुलाम बनाती है, भूल मत जाना.
टेक्नोलॉजी शायद हमें गुलाम नहीं बनाती है, हमारी गलती है कि हम टेक्नोलॉजी पे इतने डिपेंडेंट हो जाते हैं कि हम उसके गुलाम बन जाते हैं. पर
बचाने के रास्ते ढूंढ रही हो, पर ये ठीक नहीं है. टेक्नोलॉजी ही हमें गुलाम बनाती है, क्योंकि टेक्नोलॉजी कभी भी इस प्रकृति के लिए, इस नेचर के लिए, इस क्लाइमेट के लिए कॉन्शियसनेस एंड कंसर्न नहीं है. वो निर्जीव है. जो चीज निर्जीव होगी वो सजीव को कैसे बना सकती है? क्लाइमेट सजीव है, लाइफ है. टेक्नोलॉजी निर्जीव है, तो वो कभी उसके लिए रेस्पॉन्सिबल नहीं हो सकती.
चलिए ठीक है, we'll leave it there. I have paucity of time. I have to wrap this up, but quickly, 30 seconds. I'm getting greedy now. One last message that you would like to give to people who might be listening to you in one line, not more than one line.
Okay, we start at that end.
Okay, let's start with Kalpana.
One line is really challenging, but yeah, start everything at a local level. I think everything should be local. All our solutions are at a local level.
Okay.
I think we should start looking at local, decentralized understanding of our water, and I think we will have solutions, and that's the way forward, I feel.
Okay. Nitin.
Okay, I'd like to sum it up in one line. Let a lack local leaders bloom. And maybe the state and other vested interests need to step back so that that can happen.
All right. Dr.
हमें यदि पानीदार बनना है तो इंडिजिनस कम्युनिटी को कम्युनिटी ड्रिवन डिसेंट्रलाइज्ड वाटर मैनेजमेंट पे जाएंगे तो समाज पानीदार होगा, हिंदुस्तान फिर पानीदार बन जाएगा। तुम्हें फिर ऐसी सेमिनार दोबारा कन्वेंशन बुलाने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी।
Indigenous technologies worked because they were embedded in societies and ecosystems. The problem is not technology, the problem is the disconnection from the community and ecosystems.
All right, we will leave it there. Dr. Veena Srinivasan, Dr. Rajendra Singh, Kalpana Ramesh, and Nitya Jacob. Thank you very much to all of you. Jal hi Jeevan hai, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go back to our homes and see what small things we can do at our homes. RO का पानी जो चलता है उसको बचाना शुरू कीजिए, एक bucket नीचे रखिए. That's one tiny step you can do to save water and not waste water. Thank you very much to all of you for listening to us.
Well, thank you to our warriors as well as we talk about when it comes to the incredible work that has been put by them in combating climate change.
All right, and Shreya, we of course ask that you present each of our panelists with a special certificate that clearly indicates the trees that we've planted in their name. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, you scan the QR code, and once you do, each of our esteemed panelists can then track the geolocation and the status of their trees real time.
And all of the speakers today that you witnessed since morning on stage, all of them have multiple trees, 10 trees that have been planted in their name today. So that is a great initiative as far as the summit here is concerned in its inaugural session that is now setting up an example. Big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much. Yes, let's have a group photo op, please, to capture the moment.